We go through so many epic moments in our lives. They can either break you or make you. One morning, I was driving in the street of Baghdad for an appointment. And as I was parking my car and dismantled from the car and walked away from the car, a huge explosion ripped through the car. I didn't know why I didn't die then, you know? And I asked the question is, what's the purpose of me being there? Just to give you an idea about my background and my family background. I was born and raised into a middle-class family. The focus was education so much. 3 of my brothers became doctors, and I graduated from agriculture. And you can imagine the disappointment then. Yeah, my family had a huge disappointment with me. And agriculture, you know, in Iraq, what's the prospects of graduating from agriculture in Iraq? Is either you become a farmer or become a farmer. I wanted so much to become a farmer, you know, but I never had the choice to do it. You know, it was so difficult, the situation then. But in 2003, and you probably all know what happened in 2003, a whole window of opportunities opened up there. But the insecurity was a main concern. When you go for a job, you have to think twice, 3 times, 4 times before you take a job, because it can cost you your life. And I can remember the first day I went for an interview, and I landed at the US Embassy in Baghdad. With all the choices I had to land at the US Embassy in Baghdad in a combat zone. So you can imagine the problems I had and the security concerns I had. And I can remember the day that I went there for an interview. My escort was leading the way in the embassy grounds and was showing me where everything was, you know. And he said, "Mind your step. A rocket landed here last night." So I thought to myself, God, that doesn't look very promising, you know? What the hell is going on here, you know? I'm coming for a job. But this was my dream job. I got a job as a marketing specialist at the US Embassy, at USDA FAS, Foreign Agricultural Service. You know, I was going to put my expertise and all my education into a good use out there. So, you know, it was great, you know. I can see that change was inevitable for the country. I can see a light at the end of the tunnel. I can see that things can change to a good use, you know, and my life would be better and my family's life would be in a better situation. And I learned a great deal. I was fighting corruption. I was fighting for democracy and helping the country gain its resources and stand on its own feet again. But what I was doing there, I was putting my family at risk. You know, I can't be at one point, you know, developing my career and having the expertise, whereas my family was suffering because of that. I was working literally in the green zone, and my family was living in the red zone. And it was a literally red zone, because every day my kids came back I used to pray that they came back safe from school. And I couldn't tell anyone that I worked where I did because it's a security concern. It was a big thing, if they had to tell anyone that I worked there. It could cost me my life or my family's life. So, the change that was inevitable wasn't getting any closer. We looked at that tunnel where I saw the light was not anywhere to be seen. Was a problem, was risky because I couldn't put my family's life on the balance with a job that's gonna cost me my life or my family's life. So, what else can we do? We decided that it's not worth it. We have to leave. And when the time came for us to leave, and we were scheduled the time to go to the airport, and we had to leave, I remember it was a dark night in the midst of January. It was freezing. And although we were excited that we're going to be at last, having to leave for a better life, a more secure life, but there was anxiety and a lot of anticipation out there. I remember the day my mother was walking, pulling her suitcase, overpacked suitcase, with her worn-out cane. She was going like that, trying to go for the appointment, the place where we had that appointment, going out there, because we could see a crowd of people out there. They were trying very hard to be inconspicuous, trying very hard to hide their faces from people. It's a strange situation for us. My daughter was 16 at the time, and she was pulling her case. She had to pack her suitcase with all what is treasure for her. What was treasure for her was to have a group photo of her friends at school. That's the treasure for her. I can see her eyes. I caught her eyes with a lot of questions that I had trouble in answering. She said, "Dad, where are we going? Dad, will I see my friends again? Dad, are we coming back again?" I was choking. I couldn't get out the words to tell her that, do we have a choice in all that? Do we have a choice? There's no choice in all that. We're trying to be a safe family. That's all we had to do, All those memories came back to me when a near-death moment with my car, and a suicide bomber in a peaceful neighborhood blew himself up, and we ended up having our house turned into rubble, and we had to rebuild again. That's the images that I had in my mind at that time. I couldn't tolerate anything else, and couldn't answer I didn't have the answer to say anything. So what I said was, please, I tried to encourage my family to take a quicker pace, because this is our only hope for salvation. Last week, we celebrated the graduation of my daughter from MSU. And after going through all that ordeal, now I know what the purpose was. Thank you.